Kellen Moore's first win as a head coach. It was also Spencer Rattler's first win as a quarterback.
Not as good as you.
Oh, feels good, man. Feels good to get that first win. It was a team win. Defense played great. O-line played elite today. I believe we had 0 sacks versus that front. So, that's a great building point and, catch that momentum, going around.
Spencer Rattler, not bad. 21 of 31, 225 yards passing. He did throw for a touchdown along the way. The man of the hour, though, aside from Kool-Aid McKinstry on the defensive side of the football, Kendre Miller on the offensive side of the football was an absolute beast exactly when he had to be. So the Saints moved to 1-4. They've got New England coming in. New England's fresh off of a big win, but this is a second winnable game for the Saints. Here's the Fox Business Report. Awesome.
Good morning, Facebook Live. Shout out to all the peeps. Bonus legally served.
Yes.
I'm a giver.
I appreciate that.
It's okay. Ooh, tell me more about the Walmart Deals event.
Yeah, I don't know Supply Chain BR. I don't have talking points for that yet, but I know it's supposed to be in there. They just haven't given me the talking points, so I might double them up tomorrow. National what?
National CALA.
I have a feeling that's Lawsuit Abuse Watch week, but I don't know why it would be in there as Kala.
Caribbean and Latin America. California Assisted Living Association. Canada Association for Laboratory Accreditation. I could do this forever. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, Boo.
Does it cheapen it if I jump in front of you and do it?
No.
No.
All right, time to get a look at your traffic, and we're going to start off in Livingston Parish. And big shout out to Matt, who is often over there on the Facebook live chat, for giving me the heads up on this one. If you're coming in from Livingston Parish, it's looking like it's starting to clear up right now. But, no. Sorry, I didn't scroll out far enough. I didn't zoom out far enough. Nasty accident on 12 westbound by Jubin. This accident is causing, let me get what, the left-hand lane is blocked. It's just a 2-vehicle wreck. It's Denham Springs police are on the scene. The accident is before Jubin. You've got backed up traffic for a couple of miles here where it's just going to be stop and go. And, of course, the weather isn't helping that at all. And it is, there are quite the delays as a result of it. Now, once you get past that, though, things look like they're okay on the rest of 12 westbound coming into the 10-12 merge. Flipping around at 10 westbound is usually smooth sailing coming in from Ascension Parish. But in between Gonzales and Prairieville, there are some delays on 10 westbound right now. Not enough to make you want to change your route, but you will tap the brakes a little bit. You got more company than usual. Then again, as you get to the 10-12 merge on 10 westbound, it looks like from about just before Essen up to the 10-12 merge, it's stop and go on that little stretch. Flipping around to the other side of the interstate, we're good coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish. I-110. There was an accident earlier this morning on 110 northbound near Government Street. That has long since been cleared. Surface Street-wise, we are looking good. No accidents to report at this time. That's really good traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .625, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We had a lot go down in the last couple days on a legal front, and I decided to call an audible and say, I'm not sitting on this until Wednesday. Can we get Franz in for a bonus legally served? So that's what we're doing right now. How are you? Oh, whoa. Legally served. Yeah. No, he's here. Let's go. Do you have Core TV today? Okay.
7.
You're good through all the way through 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to Mass after this. And that's not until 8.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, not a lot of 8 o'clock Masses on this side of town. Agnes does at 6 o'clock. Not that you're working, but just saying. Mondays.
What about
Mondays.
Oh, the cathedral?
Not on Mondays. They used to do a fisherman's mass. I don't mind going all the way back to Mercy. It's just I got
10 minutes.
I got to go to Point Coupee after that, so it's like.
Welcome in, Franz. How are you, brother?
You know how I like to shy away from the media.
I know you do.
And being on the radio, giving myself to you and the listeners, to Facebook Live, to the folks on terrestrial
radio. All right. We got to save some time on the back end to talk about Cleo Fields.
Bad boys for life, baby. Diddy.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to start with Diddy because nationally that's obviously the big story right now.
Sentenced federally.
Yes, 4 years in prison. Walk me through, because this could have been 10.
See,
walk me through what he actually got.
For those who are watching, you can see my hand just lifted, and I'm slapping myself on the wrist.
Yeah.
Could have been much worse. Could have been tremendously worse.
Hang on. It could have been worse if he were found guilty of something else.
I'm going to get there for you.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So he was sentenced to 5 years, or in federal, we calculate months, 60 months.
Mm-hmm. So
of that 60 months, this is the most important part of the conversation. How much real time does he do? We say he does about 85% of that. 85 to 75, closer to 85. He does 85% of the 60 months. I'm sorry, 60 months, 50 months. He does 85% of the 50 months. No. He got 5 years.
That's 60.
I was right. I was right the first time. I actually don't think he got 5 years. I think he got 50 months.
Okay.
So he got, that's right, 50 months.
Okay.
Very confusing. Let's start this over. 50 months.
Mm-hmm.
At 85% minus the 13 months he's already been in. So he's looking at
Hang on. Are we doing 85% of the 50 or 85% of 37?
85% of the 50, then you deduct the 13 months. So you're about like 3-ish years. Now here's the kicker. At the back end of that sentence, when he gets to have like a year left-ish, he can be put in a halfway house. Okay. And because of the nature of who he is, he probably will be put in a halfway house.
So if he
ain't doing flat time.
50 times 85% is 42.5.
Minus 13.
Subtract the 13, you're now down to 29.5. So you're saying after how long? Because 29.5 is what, 2 years, 5 months.
He'll do probably when he has about 12 to 10 months left, he might be eligible for a halfway house. And by the way, he's been hanging out in some county prison in Brooklyn, right? Or the Bronx, one of the two.
Okay.
A poop hole. I didn't say the word I wanted to say.
No,
a poop hole. BOP for him, exponentially better. It may not be as good as Goodfellas, right? It may not be as good as Goodfellas where, like, Vinny's sitting there slicing garlic and there's a steak grill. Yeah. His life is going to improve. Now, that all being said, to your point, well, wait a minute. He was ultimately only convicted for what? prostitution across state lines. Well, in the federal system, this is crazy. In the federal system, other criminal conduct related to all this, even if acquitted, can be considered by the judge as what's called relevant conduct. It's really jacked up, right? So like for example, he was never prosecuted for the domestic violence.
Right.
And really the domestic violence has nothing to do with the whole criminal enterprise thing other than like what did he do on the back end of that?
Right.
Right. Judge can consider that. The judge did consider that. But put that beside the point for a second. I know we're limited on time. He got a sentence below the guidelines. So this sentence was actually lower than what his sentencing guidelines were in the federal system. Everything in federal is guidelines.
Yeah.
Like a range. Judge doesn't have to follow it. He can go below, he can go above. This judge was like,
Well, that's why it's a guideline and not a rule. I mean,
well,
that's...
and the weirdest thing was the judge had language in sentencing about like holding him accountable.
Right.
And not letting him just get away with something. And I'm like, really?
But he kind of did.
Kind of.
Now, meanwhile, as light as this sentence is, or as light as this sentence appears to be, his attorney says this is unconstitutional. We'll get into that part of that in just a little bit. Right now, here's news on Talk 107.3 FM.
But yeah, I was surprised because I think it was like Friday. I was like, he'll get like 5 years maybe. And now
So I think he thought he was going home, but he's not in touch with reality.
no.
I will tell you that any defense attorney representing anybody that does federal work, while they may be like, man, we're disappointed he's not going home, they're doing a freaking victory lap around that federal courthouse. Like somewhere in New York on that evening, those defense attorneys were like little honey badgers. That was a phenomenally good sentence. Sometimes it's about redefining wins. Sometimes it's about redefining what victory is. That was dude, this entire thing could have been much worse for him.
Yeah.
Like there's a scenario, there's a universe, there's a parallel universe where Diddy is doing the rest of his life in jail.
Right. Because he's convicted of everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Bad Boys for Life. What's your favorite Diddy song? Do you have a favorite Diddy song? Is there a favorite Diddy
I'll
song?
Be Missing You. That's I don't know. I know you would think it'd be something more like heavier.
Is it disingenuous because he had a hand in killing Biggie? Oh, did I say that? Did I say that? Oh, sorry. Like if you make a really good song about your friend,
right?
But maybe you had a hand in killing your friend.
Bad Boys for Life. That was a good
Bad Boys for Life was an excellent video as well. I was a West Coast guy. I am a West Coast guy.
Yeah,
Shake Your Tail Feather from Bad Boys 2 was good.
Okay.
Last Night, probably my favorite by Diddy.
So when you're a Diddy and you're like in everybody's song, like not like in not like a DJ Khaled kind of way. When do you get to have credit for that being your song versus like?
He had a full verse in Shake Your Tail Feather though.
Okay.
Everybody.
Okay.
It was a true collaboration. What's the Oh, now I've got the tune in my head and I can't think of any of the words to it. Diddy and
so you heard
starts with a J.
So you heard he had scheduled a speaking engagement in Miami for like the next couple of weeks, and it came out at sentencing. Now they spun it as no, he's doing this as I'm telling my story and about what I've learned from this and all that.
Oh, sorry, that's not Diddy. That's Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri. Never mind.
Same coast.
Yeah.
Different black rappers. Sorry. Good morning, Matt.
That's someone you hadn't heard from in a while. Jermaine Dupri.
Money Ain't a Thing. I love that song.
I celebrate DJ Khaled, whether he directly wrote the song or if he's collaborating. I mean, all I do is win.
Right.
Isn't that, like, if anybody else sings that, it's like, dude, that's the douchiest song ever. But when he sings it, Ludacris is in there making that little cameo. I mean. Another one.
They're going to know this is my beat.
I will say this. If you see a picture of him, and you probably will as time progresses, he aged a lot over that trial.
Did he?
Yeah, he aged a
The
lot.
courtroom sketches have him fully gray.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I ain't hating on that, dude. I mean, it's not like he's getting hair dye in the county.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, dude's aged. I mean, it's like a trial like that will age you a little bit. I mean,
I'm gonna move some spots around this morning. We'll do BTR and Mathurns over the next 2 segments. Nothing found on that. 636 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. About to dive back into Legally Served, a bonus Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt. And yes, we're already eyeing up some topics for Wednesday. I want to give Franz plenty of time to prepare for those because some stuff broke over the weekend that I think.
I mean, it was a huge legal weekend.
It really was. And I'm just going to let you know right now because I haven't even told you about this. Did you see the story about about Kyron Lacey?
We were talking about that this morning.
Okay. That is so jacked up. And I know, like, I don't want to. I need you to do the background on it.
We can save that one, and then did we talk about National Guard yet and like the legal ramifications of deploying National Guard? Because there's some legal movements. There's lots to talk about.
Are there legal ramifications?
So there was just a federal decision, I want to say in Washington State, about it, in whether or not he has the. It's convoluted, right? It's a. Can he deploy him? Yes. Can he deploy him under the circumstances we're talking about, like crime? Because they're all. This is off rails, but it's all being deployed because of what high crime in certain regional areas. So, but this morning we're talking about Diddy.
So we'll get back into it, and we will talk about Cleo Fields in just a little bit.
Yeah. What does Martha Stewart and Cleo Fields have in common?
I know.
Martha, you need to move your money.
So back to Diddy, though, as we're going into the break, we're talking about, or maybe this was during the break, talking about there's a different universe where he's convicted of everything.
Yeah.
How much of that spills back into this universe where from what he was actually charged with and actually convicted of, that that doesn't mash up with
there's
what he
a
was.
legal answer to that, and then there's a common sense answer. Common sense answer first. This judge sat for that entire trial.
Right.
So whether he was proof beyond a reasonable doubt versus innocent of the other allegations, he was acquitted. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this before. That means it's a legal determination, not innocent, not guilty.
Right.
So that judge sat and listened to all the horrible little peccadillos about Diddy. Saw the video, saw everything, right? That said, how do you put that out of your mind?
That's the question. And it spills back into Diddy's attorney. Attorneys for Diddy say they have a strong basis to appeal the judge's sentence, which they described as unconstitutional. Speaking to reporters outside the courthouse, defense attorney Mark Agnafilo said the judge used the word coercion at least a dozen times during the sentencing hearing, even though the jury found there was no coercion. So
you take the appeal because you lose nothing doing the appeal.
Okay.
Right? He's got enough time to do to where he can appeal this and maybe get out a little earlier. Number two, I believe the law allows the judge to consider what's called relevant conduct. Relevant conduct is other criminal activities that he's not necessarily prosecuted for, but may have a connection to all this.
Okay.
It sucks. As a defense attorney, I'll say it is the weirdest concept. There was a case I had where I suppressed 5,000 pills from a search of a vehicle. That means that the court said this was unconstitutional. This search doesn't happen. My guy later pleads guilty to a connected but undirectly connected drug distribution case. Mm-hmm. The judge gets to consider the constitutionally questionable search that he himself has declared unconstitutional in the sentencing, amplifying his exposure and rage. That's how we do it in the federal system. Mm-hmm. You don't like it?
I don't.
Talk to your congressman.
No, I understand.
Or congresswoman.
I understand. These are the areas that get you in trouble.
Right.
Because these are the areas where the law deflects the truth.
This is the kicker.
The law does not allow for the truth.
This is the kicker. By the judge going down in the guidelines, by the judge going below the guidelines, what that judge did, very smart, insulated himself from an appeal. Because an appellate court's going to say, you got below the guidelines. I mean, it'll be more legally complicated. The analysis will be better than what I just said, but for time purposes, everybody's going to be like, dude, you should have gotten a guideline sentence. The judge went below. Now, that said, I listened to some of the transcript of the sentencing. I mean, I think at one point he argued he wasn't, I think there was an argument and a motion at one point where he basically was like, he wasn't a pimp. Right. He didn't get anything of value out of like coordinating all this. There were arguments all along about consensual behavior. Mm-hmm. So, dude, look, I'll tell you what I said. I said this at the break. The defense attorneys, of course, get on the microphone after the sentencing and are like, hey, we're going to appeal this. And we have a legal basis and all this. I'm telling you, in Manhattan on Friday night, they were doing victory laps. Yeah. Huge win for them. Yeah. Like street credit win. You defended Diddy and he only got how much time?
Okay, so that's actually going to walk me up to the next part of this topic, and then we'll finish out this segment on this and do the last segment on Cleo Fields. The last part of this topic is literally all about the Benjamins. What's next is the civil lawsuits. So everything that was just tried in court, how does that play into once the civil suits begin? Does everything go back into the full equation again?
So civilly, lower burden of proof. Mm-hmm. Not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, preponderance. And to be sure, some of the claims have merit. Some of the claims are, and if you knew the vetting that the civil attorneys have to do before they take an additional victim or client in, you would be astounded. They hire lie detectors, polygraphists come in and actually polygraph the people claiming that Diddy did whatever to him. It's crazy. It's an insane little world. I think he's going to be civilly liable for what they can get to money-wise. Uh-huh. I mean, I'm assuming he's bad boy for life. I'm assuming there's an offshore account somewhere. I'm assuming there's some money under a pillow.
I can't imagine a world in which there's not. I mean,
but he also depleted a lot of money
on this trial.
He's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
If he comes out of prison and produces some new music, and look, we love comeback kids. Can't let a little thing like human trafficking get in the way of art.
So, but he was never convicted of human trafficking
in a court of law,
right? But when you go back around to the civil suit, things that did not play themselves out here will play. I'll give you a perfect example. Part of the sentencing, the judge called Cassie Ventura and who was the other woman? Jane and Cassie Ventura. Mm-hmm. The judge called them, quote, brave survivors. Well, if he wasn't convicted of anything, what did they survive?
Well, that's the big thing. Well, and also the other piece is understand where you are. Mm-hmm. You're in a world where some people, not me, not you necessarily, some people are going to look at this and say, this looks like consensual behavior. Mm-hmm. And I've said it before. Just because you do something stupid, 10 years later, you're like, ugh, that stupid thing I didn't age well, and now I really regret it. Well, doesn't mean it was criminal back then or that you were violated. I got to tell you, that judge using words like survivor, I understand why he did what he did. But again,
consensual also brings up other things like you can sign off on something before you walk through the front door, and it's a complete nightmare once you get behind that door.
Sure.
Like that's,
I didn't know I was signing up for a dungeon party.
Right. I mean, it's, nobody expected the river of chocolate in Willy Wonka.
Can you imagine a river of KY?
Well, that's
of lube.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, wait, what did I sign up for?
So, yeah, it's consensual when they got there, but who knows what happens once, like, there's no, okay, stop, everybody should stop where we're at because I'm no longer comfortable. Like, that doesn't happen in this scenario.
I think there will be some civil cases that stick. There'll be some that settle. He's in jail for the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not. I mean, look, there might be a settlement that deals with future payouts. There may be, but look, at the end of the day, the other piece is if you went to a freak off party and maybe you had a sexual assault experience, I don't know what the value of that is. I don't know, like I don't because I don't deal with that world. I'll say it has a value.
Right. All right. We got to break it right here. When we come back, we're going to talk stock tips with Cleo Fields.
Martha, move your money.
I tell you. Before we take that break, though, want to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. LSU is at home this weekend, and then I believe they fly out next weekend to take on Vanderbilt in Nashville. And, well, there's a direct flight for that at flybtr.com. Later on in the season, when LSU goes to Alabama, there's a direct flight for that to Birmingham at flybtr.com. Closing out the season at Oklahoma, there's a direct flight just for the game to Oklahoma City at flybtr.com. Love when they do this at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport for a couple of reasons. Number one, you get to see the Tigers play, right? Number two, it's built out just for this game, so it's maximizing your convenience to go watch the Tigers play. But number three, it gives us a chance to show off to the airlines. Every time they add a direct flight, we're kind of judged based off of the usage of that direct flight. A perfect example of that is the direct flight to D.C. It leaves out of BTR at 7:15 every morning, comes back home late in the evening. You can get your business done in our nation's capital same day. Come home same night. You're back to sleep in your own bed that same night when you fly BTR. It's another example of if we use it, we get more of it. It's kind of us on the clock, which I absolutely love. Check it out now, flybtr.com, flybtr.com. All right, quick break. On the backside of the break, Cleo Fields, boy, he had a feeling about Oracle stock, and it paid off. We'll talk about it next.
I was watching the Cat Williams dialogue about what Martha Stewart and Little Kim have in common. Little Kim went to jail for not snitching. For doing what your mama told you to do. Don't be a little tattletale. Martha, if you don't move your money, it's going to be gone. Which is worse? Moving your money so that you don't lose a shit ton of it? Or, hey, I got a hunch. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of stock. And I have a hunch because I have, dare I say, insider knowledge. Which makes you feel worse?
Protecting what you already have
versus exploiting knowledge that you shouldn't have or you shouldn't be able to exploit.
Exploiting the knowledge you already
have
is way worse.
Right.
Way worse. And it's not close.
So fun fact, if you win an item in a raffle and the item is worth a certain threshold, like say over $5,000, you have to pay 24% tax on that item to the raffle persons. Now you can deduct the amount of tickets you spent, and it is a charitable donation of sorts. So
if you win the raffle and opt not to keep said item,
you don't know,
you'd have to pay taxes on your gains of selling it, though.
If you sell it, you have to pay gains on the selling it. If you donate it, I don't think you pay anything, but you get the benefit of donating a certain percentage of the value.
So if someone were a regular philanthropist and often donated money, it would behoove them to found a foundation.
Right. What kind of foundation would they start, though? What's the
The human
Seinfeld?
fund?
The human fund.
But no, you can start a foundation that's based off of giving money to other people.
Yeah. Like Braff.
Yeah. We have the Guarantee Foundation.
We need a foundation.
Do we?
No, not really. That's a recipe for federal indictment,
Yeah, I
sir.
was going to say.
Martha!
For the $5 I put in the envelope every week.
You laugh. I used to just put money in the $1 here, $1 here, like a strip club, in the collection plate. And I never did the envelope. And then I started realizing that I have to donate a certain percentage to get an in-parish tuition discount. And I started thinking, why am I not putting that $1 bill in the envelope and filling it out?
Yeah.
Because it adds up.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, life, I'm about to give you a gift.
Okay.
Ideal Market. They do a carne asada that you can have delivered to your house.
Ideal Market on Sherwood.
Yeah. You can have it delivered to your house, like Uber Eats or DoorDash, or you can go pick it up. They sell it in like by the poundage. This stuff, it is ridiculously inexpensive, ridiculously tasty.
Okay.
Well seasoned, it was one of those gambles. You ever order something from Uber Eats and you're like, it's like a gamble, and you're like, I don't know how this is gonna play out, but I'm rolling these dice, dude. Maybe $12, $13 for a.
You ever go by there at lunch though?
I have not.
It's a wonder construction gets done in the afternoon at all.
It's heavily.
Oh my God, portion control is not a thing. Their plate lunches are heavy, to be sure, and then they've got those juices in the back. You ever go to the juiceria?
So it's called
Bro,
juiceria.
It is.
I'm gonna need the Spanish word for juice.
No need. We're good. But you go to the juiceria in the back, bro. You want to talk about a cup of diabetes? Ugh. Worth it. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Congressman Cleo Fields bought. Oh, by the way, bonus legally served. Rolling right along. Congressman Cleo Fields bought thousands of dollars worth of Oracle stock in the days before the Trump administration announced that the company would be playing a role in the pending U.S. spinoff of TikTok from Chinese company ByteDance. According to a congressional financial disclosure document, Fields bought between $80,000 and $200,000 worth of Oracle shares across 3 different trades on September 17th, 18th, and 23rd. On the 25th, the president made the announcement. Franz, you want to take it from there?
It smells funny.
Does it smell
So
funny?
what follows is not a political commentary on Cleo Fields. I'm not political, believe it or not. In my world, in my little world, and by the way, there are laws that say that congressmen and women, senators or House of Representatives, aren't supposed to use the knowledge they have to do this.
You're right.
And there's also laws, we're familiar with them, insider trading.
Right.
When's the last time we saw a celebrity prosecuted for insider trading? Martha Stewart.
Correct. Now, why is it that if you're Martha Stewart, you can be prosecuted for this, but if you're a member of Congress, you're not?
Ask Nancy Pelosi.
And that's where I'm going with this. There is an app called Autopilot that literally just tracks what Nancy Pelosi buys.
And you just you move your money like she does.
But here's the thing, though. You're not going to get as rich as she is because the first dog out of the gate is the one that wins the race.
Well, look, first of all, you're
You
not
ever been
going to
to a
get
dog track?
I have.
Okay. You know how when they open those gates, the first greyhound out is going to win. Hey, the rest, it looks like the fox hunt from a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Right.
Well, first of all, you're not going to get paid if you have that kind of attitude. You got to just follow Nancy, follow the. So here's the thing. Martha someone told, I mean, I'm quoting my Cat Williams here. Martha, move your money or it's going to be gone.
Right.
And she moved it. She went to federal prison.
And that's what she got busted for, was the moving.
Moving the money.
It wasn't the buying.
Selling, not buying,
right.
Selling.
Right.
Least now, to his credit, Cleo Fields disclosed the purchases. Mm-hmm. And by the way, big purchases. Not
$80,000 to $200,000.
Would you feel better if it were like about $500 worth? I feel a little bit better. Versus,
I don't know that I would, because either way, they use their insider knowledge in order to gain
smells
profit.
funny,
right?
Is Cleo Fields like Cleo's gonna Cleo?
Well, so that's. I mean, you and I talked about this late last week. It's like, I'm not even mad at it, because you knew this. You knew this was going to come. You knew this was what's going to happen. And oh, by the way, knowing what's coming in the Supreme Court this month, and then potentially a special session for our state legislature later this month, Cleo's on the clock, boss. He's got to take what he can get now.
Look, retirement is imminent.
Right.
Got to make that money.
Yes.
So I don't know that anything. This was in the news. Didn't really seem to get a lot of momentum. Like, I don't like I got to tell you, I don't understand. I really don't understand why it is that there haven't been prosecutions, federal prosecution. And look, insider trading is not easy. Securities fraud is not an easy prosecution. Like, because sometimes it's as simple as you and I are just hanging out, like here,
mm-hmm.
and you may in passing say, "Hey, I heard a rumor that Lamar is going to X, Y, and Z," and I'm like, "Oh, you heard that rumor?"
Right. Then you go buy Lamar,
and I mean, is that insider information? If you hear
I'm not
a rumor,
an insider,
right? But if you're like Cleo Fields,
okay, so. A better example would be if I were on the board of directors for Lamar and I was to share that information with you. If I'm sharing information that I've signed an NDA for, which most of the time, if it's something big like that, it would fall into that. Like, if I'm regular Joe on the street and I overhear something at a CC's Coffee, then I'm not an insider. I just am fortuitous.
I will tell you, in my humble 46 years of living,
mm-hmm.
Cleo Fields looks bulletproof. I mean,
yeah.
Just bulletproof. And maybe the bag of money has become more sophisticated. Maybe now it's the insider trading.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the analogy you threw out about the Venmo? Like
Cleo Fields at this point is so bold, he will put insider trading in the memo line of his Venmo.
Right.
Allegedly.
So the other side of this is, what was the ROI on those trades? How much money has he made? I mean, we don't know yet, right?
Well, okay, no, I don't know yet, but I also don't care.
Right.
Like, randomly he goes and buys Oracle stock 2 days before it's announced, 5 days before it's announced. Like, you can't tell me that's
you got to prove
not as a result. Even if the stock went down, even if he lost money, he's still wrong.
So I think that where the rubber meets the road is you got to prove that they actually had insider knowledge from a source. And you got to be able to prove that, right? Like, the scratch and sniff of this smells foul.
Right.
No disrespect to Cleo Fields. This smells foul,
mm-hmm.
right? Everybody with a straight face is like, yeah, this doesn't really pass the smell test. However, you got to prove that from someplace he got this insider knowledge, and they have to testify to it. Right. I don't know that he gets convicted sufficiently on just the buying how many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of. Maybe he does. I don't know.
80 to 200,000, 80,000 to 200,000 over 3 different trades.
Feels like, you know what it is? What? It feels like loaded dice. It's like he's at the craps table, and you and I are throwing dice that are normal regulated dice,
mm-hmm.
and he gets the loaded dice.
Okay. We got about 30 seconds left. I don't think this is going to go anywhere.
No,
mostly
nowhere.
Because all the rules and regs for Congress were written by Congress. I mean, a lot of this comes from the Stock Act of 2012, which really only said you had to have greater transparency. And
Well,
that's exactly what he did.
I mean, I disclosed the transaction.
He did disclose the transaction, which is an important part of the conversation. He kind of did what he was supposed to do. We can all say it stinks to high heaven all day long, but I don't think he broke a law.
Martha Stewart went to jail and is now good friends with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
We live in a funny world.
We
live in a funny world.
We do. He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We'll be back on Wednesday for our normal installment of Legally Served. Always appreciate you, brother.
Bye, guys.
We got hour 2 coming up right after we check news, traffic, and weather. It is Heads Up 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane continues next. So we're going to have 2 pre-recorded interviews this hour. Jake Tapper was supposed to be at 6:35. We bumped it to 7:35 to make room for Franz. So
Oh, okay. Jake's, he was in Friday's folder.
yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, you good. I was wondering. As long as I found it.
Okay. Kimberly says, I read that article about how Cleo bought that Oracle stock. Galen says, I seriously doubt that Oracle's TikTok responsibilities will substantially benefit Oracle's stock price. They're huge, and TikTok is a drop in their bucket. Okay, let me rephrase the question. Does that matter? The reason he's buying is what matters. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. We got Medical Monday coming up in our next segment. We got CNN's Jake Tapper also this hour. He's got a new book out about terrorism, the Forever War, as he's calling it. That's coming up later on this hour. By the way, Brian here with you, JP producing. Thanks again to Franz Borghardt for stopping by for a little bonus Legally Served. Franz will be back on Wednesday. Yes, we do need to talk about the Kyron Lacey situation. If you've not been following that, it's disappointing, to say the least. Infuriating is probably a better word. But we do Legally Served Wednesday at 6:25. We just happen to have Franz available this morning as well with so much left over. Wanted to make sure that we covered all of it. So right now, we start off your second hour with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
23-year-old Jesse Diaz of Denham Springs was killed after getting out of his car on the interstate early Sunday morning. He stopped in the left lane of I-10 and exited his vehicle. Moments later, a second vehicle traveling in the left lane struck the rear of his car as well as him. Diaz was pronounced dead on the scene, while the passenger and driver of the second vehicle sustained moderate injuries.
Number 4.
A man was shot dead on Plank Road early Saturday morning, according to BRPD. They said 41-year-old Dwayne Williams was shot at the Church's Chicken on the corner of Plank and Riley Street just before 2 a.m. Saturday. Williams was taken to a hospital. He later died from his injuries.
Number 3.
Police are searching for who shot and killed a 17-year-old on Saturday night at the Cadence at Southern University apartment complex. BRPD said 17-year-old Michael Booker was shot around 10:20 p.m., was taken to a hospital where he died. BRPD said that since the incident, detectives have been interviewing individuals they believe were at the scene. This investigation is ongoing.
Number 2.
Attorney General Liz Murrill has fired all of the outside lawyers working for Secretary of State Nancy Landry in an extraordinary, high-stakes legal battle between two of Louisiana's 6 statewide elected officers. Murrill said she acted to protect her primacy as Louisiana's chief legal officer after Landry, in her view, challenged that authority in advance of an upcoming U.S. Supreme Court hearing on whether Louisiana will have to redraw its congressional voting maps.
Number 1.
We might have another name storm on our hands this week. There's a broad area of low pressure associated with low-latitude tropical wave that continues over a large area of disorganized cloudiness. This is southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It's approaching the Leeward Islands. 50-50 shot this becomes a named storm over the next 48 hours. 70% chance it becomes a named storm over the next 7 days. If it does become a named storm, it'll be Jerry. What you got, JP?
Well, there are now 5 courts who disagree with President Trump over his revoking of birthright citizenship. The First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled Friday against the executive order.
They're going to push this to the Supreme Court, no doubt. That's going to happen. After that, the thing is, like, birthright citizenship is so ingrained in who we are,
Right.
that I don't know that you could decouple from it. It's just, it's what we were built on.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand the abuse. And I get all of that. I don't know. I'm struggling to have a take on it because I see both sides.
I know. It's hard. Yeah, man. But in other news, former NFL quarterback and current Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez was arrested Saturday after he was apparently stabbed in an overnight altercation in downtown Indianapolis.
Okay, so the headline from the New York Post reads, ex-Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez acted erratically, body slammed a truck driver before being stabbed. Cops said this guy is trying to kill me. Talk about Sanchez trying to kill the truck driver. This seems so out of left field for all of it.
Yeah.
Whoop. I hate the New York Post so much. Can y'all have a few more pop-up ads, please?
What?
Acting erratically, reeked of booze, and was slurring his words when he body slammed an elderly grease truck driver just before he was stabbed in the chest. The 69-year-old driver said he stabbed Sanchez several times in self-defense after the attack, telling cops, "This guy is trying to kill me."
Apparently he climbed in the truck.
Sanchez did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is all over fryer oil?
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The truck driver reportedly said he was doing his job exchanging used cooking oil from the Westin Hotel when Sanchez approached him and opened the door of his truck. After PT, that's who the driver's going by, exited the truck, Sanchez claimed he had spoken to the manager of the hotel and that PT could not be there. So he's saying this guy shouldn't be here. He's like, dude, I'm just trying to do my job. Climbs in the truck, and apparently the altercation begins. Like, that's so odd, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is going to be a big story throughout the week. No doubt.
It's insane. And less confusing news, Mountain Dew has a cream soda coming out next year.
A dirty cream soda.
Dirty cream soda.
I don't even know what dirty cream soda means.
I don't know, but Sonic advertises for these dirty drinks. I guess it just means you can mix, like,
Mix it on your own type of thing. Yeah.
Kind of. But yeah. Sounds naughty though.
They're comparing it to Pepsi's Wild Cherry, which I've had one of.
I can dig it.
There's now a Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. So that's the comp here. It's the Wild Cherry and Cream. With Mountain Dew, you get the citrus flavors and then the cream flavor on top of this. This could taste like a creamsicle.
Yeah.
This very much has that creamsicle vibe to it.
I think it's gonna be good.
All right.
I think
I'm
so.
not hating on it.
This should be good.
I like a Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah.
I like a Baja Blast.
Gotta do the do.
I like a Code Red.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 712 at Talk 107.3 FM. Before we take our first break of the hour, and Medical Monday will be on the back end of this break, got to remind you about Supply Chain BR. Coming up at the end of this month, in fact, Tuesday, October 28th, Supply Chain Baton Rouge is coming your way. What is Supply Chain BR? Well, happy to tell you. If you are a business owner, a growth-minded business leader, this is a conference, a one-day conference, that will connect you to supply chain resources and partnerships that are available right here in our own backyard. There's a whole cast of speakers, a whole slew of speakers all day long. It's going to be going on Tuesday, October 28th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Crown Plaza. They've got an Eventbrite set up for it if you want to go buy tickets. The tickets range anywhere from $100 to $600, but it's all day long. This is, I believe, the fifth time they've done Supply Chain BR. So if you're looking to grow, if you're looking for new partnerships, if you're looking for maximizing your business in Baton Rouge, Supply Chain BR is on its way. Check it out at eventbrite.com, and then just search up Supply Chain Baton Rouge. Hello. Debbie says him searching for a restaurant is a lame excuse. What? Oh, that's the Sadvocate that posted that. Go back and look. I'm pretty sure that was the Sadvocate that posted that. Oh, cream being added is what makes them dirty. I didn't know that. All right.
Oh man! Hey, speaking of, because Sonic does like the dirty drinks and stuff. I was at Sonic this weekend, and I was like trying to get a Dr. Pepper float.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new thing on the menu. They were advertising it. I was there anyway. I was like, hey, let me try that, and it rang up for like $5 something, and I was like, hey, you guys are advertising out here for like $1.99. And I don't know. It just became like a weird thing. I had a manager come out, and he's like, where do you see that at? I'm like, it's right here. Look, it's scrolling. Yeah, we can't honor that. I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm just not trying to get one up on anybody, but yeah, it took an employee to come outside and a manager. I'm like, it's not that serious, people. This is insane. And really, like in public, especially like with people, I'm the least confrontational person. I just thought it was just so odd.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
And this week's Medical Monday takes us out to Livingston Parish, where we're looking at a little bit of progress, a little bit of growth out there. Ben Schuler's with us. He's a VP of Regional Chief Operating Officer for Our Lady of the Lake. Ben, welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm doing great. Exciting times.
Glad to have you on this morning. Actually, glad to be talking about the progress and what's going on. There's a lot of movement. You're talking to us about what's happening for Our Lady of the Lake Livingston.
Absolutely.
What are we
Very
looking at?
proud about what we're doing.
Go for it. Yeah, tell us what you're doing.
In the spring of 2026, we'll be adding observation beds, 10 observation bed unit that we'll start construction on immediately. This is a $5 million commitment that we're bringing to the Livingston Parish. And what we're going to be able to offer is overnight stays for patients that need a little extra care from just the regular emergency room visit. In the past, they were transferred over to the regional center in Baton Rouge, Our Lady of the Lake Regional. And now we're going to be able to keep these patients overnight, get them healthy, get them restored to their normal functioning, and get them home to their families and loved ones.
Is this the first movement towards overnight out there in Livingston? I mean, or what otherwise would set an observational unit apart?
Well, this is the first of its kind in Livingston that's going to be offered. In the past, it's been just kind of a one-stop emergency room with also some specialty services. And now growing into this allows us to further our commitment to the community and also commit to even more advances. This is just the next step. It's not the last step. We're going to keep going out in that market. Absolutely
love this. We're talking with Ben Schuler from Our Lady of the Lake about some expansion out in Livingston. And this is an incredible investment, not just for y'all, but in Livingston itself and for Livingston, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's an up-and-coming community. It's been, out there for a while, but we have more and more people going out there. And as the community grows and as the economy grows out there, we have to match that from a community partner. We have to grow with them. We have to be the hospital of choice as people set down roots and also retire out there.
Talk to me a little bit about how patients from the ER, like before an observational unit, how patients from the ER would be handled before, going back home again.
Well, in the case of a patient that may come in with chest pain but not an acute heart attack, these patients, we may want to monitor their lab results for an additional 12 to 18 hours. We may want to take additional cardiograms, EKGs, and we could watch them overnight and rule out any major heart damage or any major heart disease and get these patients home with confidence and to follow up with their regular provider or a cardiologist versus hopping in an ambulance, having to go to a very busy facility, and maybe even extending the care beyond that. It's more efficient and more cost-effective and much more comfortable for the patient.
I guess what I was asking is, before the observational unit, would y'all have to physically bring them into Baton Rouge if you wanted to keep them beyond ER?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Our partners with Acadian Ambulance, and they would come and get them there as fast as possible, but Our Lady of the Lake in Baton Rouge is a very busy facility. Beds are at a premium. So, this will offload that campus and allow us to be more efficient for our patients in Livingston.
Well, yeah, not just efficient, but effective as well. I mean, the last thing you want on the back end of an ER visit is another ambulance ride.
No, not at all.
Unbelievable stuff. Good stuff we got from Ben Schuler, VP, Regional Chief Operating Officer for Our Lady of the Lake. We're talking about the observational unit being built out in Livingston Parish. Give us a time frame on the project.
We're looking to be opening these beds in the spring of 2026.
Wow. That's
we're going to move fast.
Yeah, that is a quick turnaround. Y'all got to pull a lot of pieces together to make that happen, don't you?
We do. We have a very good partner in Kent Construction. They've been mapping this project out for us. We're blessed with a facility with the real estate and a shell space that's excellent for this project. without inconveniencing any ongoing operations at the facility. So our emergency department will see no drawbacks from this. All of our physician offices won't even be inconvenienced by this. So it's going to be a well-oiled machine, and we're going to be able to move fast on this.
Gotta love it. Now, this investment is a big one out in Livingston, but it's not the first one. If I'm not mistaken, there have been other recent investments to Our Lady of the Lake Livingston, correct?
Oh, correct, yes.
Give me the rundown. Yeah.
3D mammography is one thing that we've added out there. We're also adding new cutting-edge laboratory equipment to Our Lady of the Lake Livingston campus. We are growing as far as adding specialists out there and adding services out there. As the Children's Hospital grows and as the regional campus grows, more and more doctors are coming to our market, so we're giving them space and giving them, clinic time. So the campus is absolutely growing, and that's coming with good investment from our system, Our Lady of the Lake.
Talk to me a little bit about the partnership with the folks in Livingston on this, because I mean, this is a two-way street. It's if you build it, they will come scenario, or is this they've asked you to build it before they come?
Both.
Yeah,
I would definitely say both. We've been in this market for over 10 years. We've been entrenched in the market. We've been the provider of choice for Livingston, and as the market has grown, we've absolutely added this and many other things in our strategic plan. We've had challenges in that time frame. The flood of 2016 was a big challenge. So many of that community were flooded, so that kind of changed the strategic plan to be more of an acute care center. Get back on track, and then there was this little pandemic that hit that put a little change in the plan. But right now, the iron is hot, and we're going to strike. We're going to grow.
absolutely. Well, let's keep it on that note. I mean, this is a big investment right here, and I don't want to get greedy, but can we look ahead to what's next for OL Livingston?
Well, the goal is to become a full-fledged hospital, offer surgical services, have many specialties out there every day of the week, whether that's surgery, whether that's cardiology, neurology. We want, as that market grows, we want to have a full-on hospital. We have the campus for it, 200 acres, beautiful campus out there. So we have the bandwidth and the land to do that.
Can we get a little more granular within that? I mean, talk about just if you want, if you could, just what's on the forefront when it comes to, let's say, imaging.
Imaging, from a cardiology standpoint, our partners are going to be adding PET-CT out there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be, offering that in the very near future. And a lot of it's in negotiation, and we're definitely in a mindset of what services will be available out there and keep it busy. It's all needed. It's absolutely all needed. We're just being very strategic with how we roll it out. But we are definitely looking into that. But the PET-CT technology that's going to be offered by the cardiology group is going to be revolutionary. Keeping patients, with minimally invasive testing through imaging and keeping them from, a cath lab or an OR
Mm-hmm.
when they don't need to go is it's what's needed. We have the ability to screen these patients better and keep them to the lowest risk care possible.
So, if you could please walk me through a little bit of, I'm not going to hold you down to exact dates, but I mean, the growth in Livingston is such that you guys are eager to become a larger part of the community. How are you balancing add on and then see how it's adapted, add on, see how it's adapted versus just completely diving in?
Well, growth is needed, but growth without quality is just growth. And what we do is we treat patients, we treat humans. So we have to make sure we grow it in a pace that we do it with high quality patient care. So that's why we start with one chip, and then the chips that follow, we make sure we have the volume to sustain it, to be, have a good business mentality, but also with a pace that allows us to recruit the best physicians possible to that market so that the quality of patient care is excellent. We staff the units with the best nursing and ancillary staff possible. So pace of play, we want to move tomorrow on all of these things, but we have to make sure we do it in a way that it's the quality that the patients deserve.
Well, and there's another
when they come
part.
to Our Lady of the Lake, they expect the best care. When
Okay,
patients come to Our Lady of the Lake, they expect world-class care, and that's what we're prepared to deliver.
that's actually where I was going next, Ben. And we're talking with Ben Schuler from Our Lady of the Lake about the expansion into Livingston. This is all part of, like, this is awesome for Livingston, but for the folks in Livingston, they got to realize this is part of the FMOL team, man. This is like an added franchise for what is already a world-class franchise.
Absolutely. And Our Lady of the Lake has been doing amazing things for many years in the community of Baton Rouge and even beyond. We want to become the premier healthcare choice in the state of Louisiana. I mean, that's absolutely the goal because we are confident in our mission. Our mission is an incredible mission to deliver the healing ministry of Jesus Christ to God's people. And we believe in it. Our staff believes in it. And our patients believe in it. So why wouldn't we want to be the partner of choice for the community?
Great stuff. He is Ben Schuler with Our Lady of the Lake. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy.
My apologies right there. The Medical Monday is presented every week by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake, and it is oftentimes a pre-recorded segment. I forgot to tease that going into the break that it would be recorded coming out. Speaking of recorded segments, got to speak with CNN's Jake Tapper on Friday. He's got a new book out. I will tell you right now, yes, we only talk about the book. There's a little bit about just the world we live in today, but I just didn't want to get into a regressive back and forth with Jake Tapper, knowing where he stems from politically, because the conversation about terrorism it takes over. Anyway, that's coming up in our next segment. Before we move on here, got to remind you that this week is Lawsuit Abuse Watch Week. Lawsuit abuse is costing everyone in Louisiana, and we are, quite frankly, tired of paying the price. Last year alone, lawsuit abuse led to nearly 40,000 jobs and $3 million of personal income lost for hardworking Louisianans. Meanwhile, trial lawyers are spending tens of millions of dollars on advertising, reinforcing our culture of jackpot justice and baseless lawsuits targeting our job-creating oil and gas industry, which puts more jobs and investment at risk. In fact, coming up at 8:05, we're going to talk with Tiger Joyce. Tiger is with the American Tort Reform Association. We're going to talk about one of those coastal lawsuits coming up at 8:05. But when it comes to lawsuit abuse, it is time for a change. Visit LouisianaLawsuitAbuse.com to get engaged. Spell out LouisianaLawsuitAbuse.com. That's where you'll find more about how to get engaged with Lawsuit Abuse Watch Week. All right. I'm sorry, Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. My apologies. We're at 7:27 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. One of the bigger topics last week on the show and throughout the news was the announcement that Governor Jeff Landry was requesting 1,000 National Guard troops come to Louisiana. We're still in the early stages of what this is going to look like. But on Friday, Mayor President Sid Edwards hopped on the show to talk about it. If you missed that conversation, it's available on demand at talk1073.com. But Mayor President Edwards is on board with the idea. And it's not the what, but the why that kind of gets me. I tell you what, let me let you hear him, Mayor Edwards, in his words, talking about why he's on board with bringing the National Guard to town.
Why am I for it? Let me tell you, Brian, I'm in a unique position. You know, I ran on public safety.
Yep.
And one of the catalysts was one of my young football players being murdered on the streets of Baton Rouge, January 1 of 2024. After that, 3 more were murdered, not players, but students at the school I was at, Screw My Eye. Since I've been in office, I've had to hold mamas that are crying in the hospital with a dead loved one. I saw, you know, I have 2 autistic kids. I was at the hospital with a 5-year-old. Some guys were shooting across the yard from each other, just like the Wild Wild West, and shot this 5-year-old boy, and he's a miracle he survived. You know, the young plumber who was going to graduate in a day, going down Fairfields Avenue, and his stray bullet guns him down. It's too much. Our police have done a I'm talking a tremendous job out there. They really have. But they're 150 officers short. They're tired, you know, and some people say, oh, we don't have a problem in Baton Rouge. We don't. We're around 80 murders in the parish, 63 in Baton Rouge, which that is lower than what we've done. But is that really good?
Right.
What I'm looking for with the guard is to be a presence. I'm not looking for them to knock doors down and do raids and do takedowns. I want a presence.
And what does that presence look like? That's where the devil's going to be in the details on this one. I can tell you, after speaking with Mayor President Sid Edwards about this, after talking with Coach about this, he makes a lot of really good points. And if you wanted to check it out, it's available on demand, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. All of our on-demand content is courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care. I'd highly recommend going back and listening to the full interview. He does make a lot of sense. And the idea of bringing in any sort of help that can help, it's like, when you're looking at, you've got fewer murders this year than last, right? But if you're looking at any murders at all, don't you want to help reduce that number until you get down to 0? The discussion is going to continue to unfold in the days and weeks to come as we get a better look at what this is actually going to look like in real life. Right now, 7:30, here's news. I can't scroll back far enough in the comments. Found it. The book is called Race Against Terror, Chasing an Al-Qaeda Killer at the Dawn of the Forever War. It's written by CNN anchor and Chief Washington Correspondent Jake Tapper. Jake, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you, man?
It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
No, glad to have you on. Glad to be talking about this book. I want to start with this basic question, which, by the way, is a fantastic read. Explain to the audience, please, what is the Forever War?
The Forever War is the war against the terrorist threat to the West and the United States, which has been going on now for decades, although I don't think the United States, the American people, really understood that until 9/11 back in 2001.
Why? That's about as simple as the way I can put it. Why didn't we understand until 2001?
Because it wasn't really done in a way that people understood how much we were at threat. That most of the attacks against the United States were done at the U.S. embassies in Tanzania and Kenya in 1998, or the Khobar Towers in the 90s, barracks in Saudi Arabia, or the USS Cole ship in Yemen. So it was Americans being killed, but not in America. There was an attempt to bomb the World Trade Center. People might remember I think it was 1991 or something like that, but it didn't work. It didn't succeed. Right. And people didn't really, people were killed, but it didn't knock down the whole tower. The people were really kind of felt like as if we were untouchable. It wasn't going to happen here, even though it was happening in the UK and Spain and France and elsewhere. And then came 9/11, and it became clear that this was a threat that had arrived for sure on our doorsteps, and it has not stopped since. It has just been unrelenting, and law enforcement and counter-security people, this is their life job and life dedication, and they are entirely focused on it, and it really is an unrelenting threat.
No, it is. And on 9/11, we lost that buffer zone of space, that buffer zone of geography. However, here we are in 2025. Are we building up another buffer zone of time to where, out of sight, out of mind, Jake? Are we losing our edge?
I don't know if we're losing our edge. It's an interesting question. I think there are a couple things going on. One is, look, I write about in the book that when they're talking about bringing this terrorist to the United States to be prosecuted in 2011, 2012, there is tremendous fear. People are terrified at the notion of bringing this terrorist or other terrorists to the U.S. for prosecution. And they act as though like the bad guy will come here and he'll have like Thanos-like powers and escape and kill Americans with lightning coming out of their fingers. But even though Spingool was brought here ultimately, and he was tried, and he was the first foreign terrorist tried in a criminal court for killing American service members on a battlefield. It was very controversial at the time. Mm-hmm. President Trump earlier this year announced that he was going to try to bring this guy named Jafar, the second foreign terrorist tried in a criminal court in the U.S. for killing American service members on a battlefield. He was behind the Abbey Gate bombing, and nobody said boo. Nobody said a word. People were, I think, more used to the threat and the idea of this is something that has to be dealt with, and this is the best way to deal with it. So I don't think it's that we're numb to it. I think there is some sophistication. On the other hand, I am concerned that there are really amazing experts, and some of whom I've write about in my book, who are really good at prosecuting terrorists, really good at keeping us safe, who are losing their jobs because of politics in the Trump era as the Justice Department becomes politicized. And that does concern me.
This at a time where not only are we looking at undoing some of the DOJ cuts, I mean, you're obviously referring to when, DOJ rolled through and it was ready, fire, aim on all departments. And now it's looking like some of those jobs are being undone at the very same time that the government shut down, so that I don't know that they can be undone.
Yeah, there are a lot of changes being made that I don't know make us safer. Some people would argue that the aid that we provide to foreign countries make us safer for any number of reasons, not the least of which is goodwill.
Right.
And a lot of that's being cut. But my main concern is honestly this expertise in prosecutions and FBI investigators that are losing their jobs because of political vengeance. I think that's really risky.
Well, but it also follows along the way. Jake Tapper's our guest. He's the author of Race Against Terror, Chasing an Al-Qaeda Killer at the Dawn of the Forever War. But we've seen each president since 9/11. I mean, you got Bush, Obama, you got Trump, you got Biden, now you go back to Trump again. Is each president has had their individual strengths and weaknesses on this front, and we're, as a nation, we're kind of learning how to do as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is a certain consensus view that we've landed in when it's not the Bush doctrine, it's not the Obama doctrine, it's kind of just this middle ground, and there is some consensus on the best way to go after terrorists. Mm-hmm. But it does require experts, and it does require knowledge, and it does require people who know what they're doing and don't care who the president is. That's one of the things I realized when I was writing this book and talking to these FBI agents and U.S. attorneys and assistant U.S. attorneys and the rest is like, so many of them just do their job, and it doesn't matter who the president is, and their personal political beliefs don't matter. It's just what are the rules and regulations, what's the job at hand.
Right.
And I think that's not a message that I'm hearing a lot from the current FBI director at all.
I know your time is limited, so let's get back and recap a little bit of the book, which, by the way, fantastic job on this one. Walk us through A Race Against Terror and you know how it begins and how the story unfolds with the arrest and everything. Morning.
So it starts. It's the Arab Spring, 2011. The deck of an Italian cruise ship that's been commandeered to bring refugees from the southern Italian islands to the mainland, and a 5'6" guy walks over. A guy from Niger walks over to an Italian guard, asks for some water. The water is given to him, and then the guard notices that this guy has a bullet wound in his arm. And he asks him how he got it, how he got that scar. And he says, well, I got it fighting Americans in Afghanistan. I'm with Al-Qaeda. And the Italians, talk to him, interrogate him, call the Americans when they get to the mainland. They say, we have this guy named Spin Ghoul. He says he's with Al-Qaeda. He says he's killed Americans. Have you heard of him? And the Americans had. The Americans go over. They hear his confession. And then from that moment on, there's a ticking clock. The Americans have to build a case against Spin Ghoul. They have to put evidence down to figure out what really happened and how it really happened. Because just a confession from Spin Ghoul isn't enough. Any first-year law student would have the case dismissed for lack of evidence. He's just a crazy person confessing to whatever. And so the Americans have this ticking clock to build a case. And I don't know about you, but I love police procedurals. I love CSI and Law and Order. And it was the sleuthing about this case that had me so intrigued and so interested. And I wrote it like a thriller. I tried to write it as if it was fiction, even though it's nonfiction, and I hope people like it.
Well, and there's an underlying story here, Jake, of the tolls that a generational, or as you call forever war, a generational war can take on an entire generation. Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not just about Spin Ghoul. It's about how we pursue all terrorists going forward and about building the strong cases against them that can withstand a jury and withstand a judge.
And with tomorrow being the anniversary of us getting into the war in Afghanistan, it's not a better time than now to read it. The book is called Race Against Terror, Chasing an Al-Qaeda Killer at the Dawn of the Forever War. He is the author of that book and, of course, CNN anchor and chief Washington correspondent Jake Tapper. Really, really appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I got to talk to Jake on Friday about the book. And there was more we wanted to get into, to be sure. But one of the things I love about those interviews is it opens up the door for a number of guests that I wouldn't normally be able to get at. One of the things I don't like is when we get to the meat of the interview, it's over. It's an 8-minute window. I hate that. And I know because as we wrapped up, this all got edited out. But as we wrapped up, it was like, I got more. And Jake's like, so do I. But you got to keep it moving because they talk to 20 different radio stations all at once. But the book is called Race Against Terror, Chasing an Al-Qaeda Killer at the Dawn of the Forever War. I want your feedback over on our Facebook Live, if you don't mind. Do you view terrorism as a forever war, a multi-generational war? As you heard during that interview, this all started for us. It started really on 9/11. Now, there were other examples leading up, before 9/11 where the U.S. was a target, but it was way over there. We didn't have that buffer of space. And now here we are in 2025. There are still things that we do on a day-to-day basis that are based off of what happened on 9/11. Tomorrow will be the anniversary of getting into the war in Afghanistan, a war that we were in all the way up until we botched our way out of it, which was another part of the conversation I wanted to get to when it comes to, is there an actual fighting terror doctrine that we can follow? And this is one of the parts where I don't want to say his politics get into it too much, but they kind of do. But it's a good example of a time where there is no absolute right and there is no absolute wrong in how you handle terror. It's all based off of proximity in time, proximity in space or place. A number of things that we adapted after 9/11 or adopted after 9/11 don't apply anymore. They're just, we tried them out and they proved to be useless. Not unlike wearing a mask during COVID. I mean, we all wore masks during COVID, and then you come to find out it's less than 30% effective. Okay, so it's taking off my belt at the airport. So it's taking off my shoes at the airport. Like, it's just, there are certain things we did where, as a society, we go along to get along, and it seems like, well, you had somebody put a bomb in a shoe, so everybody has to take their shoes off in perpetuity. Well, that eventually goes away. It eventually gets squashed because it's like, we walk the path, and it's time to go back to what we were doing before without losing any level of high alert. But this is where I want your feedback over on Facebook Live, is when it comes to who's got what doctrine, where do you come down on this? Is there one party that is 100% right and one party that's 100% wrong? And I want you to walk that path while looking at your own party. Basically, can we accumulate information? Can we accumulate tactics from both sides as we move forward in this fight? We got to take a quick break. We got a break coming up. We got Your Money Now coming your way in just a minute. We're going to have an abbreviated This Day in History on the back end of the break. Coming up at 8:05, the reason we're abbreviating This Day in History, it's National Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. Tiger Joyce with American Tort Reform is going to join us at 8:05. There's a lot to cover there. We are going to talk about everything under the sun with Moon Griffon at 8:15, and a lot of big wins down in New Orleans between the college football playoff and the new deal for the Superdome. We'll talk with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company next hour as well. Before we get you to Your Money Now, let's talk about your money and how you can make it go further. That would be the Mathern's Rewards app. Earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop at any of the Mathern's locations in Baton Rouge. Downtown, they're on 3rd Street. Across the street from Tiger Stadium, they're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. And then over on Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth, you'll find what I like to call the OG location. Used to be Kenilworth Supermarket back in the day. Well, it's back in the hands of the Mathern's family now, and it's the awesomeness that it was before. And if you download the Mathern's Rewards app, you earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop. It's a very easy program to follow, and it pays, y'all. In fact, the more you save, or should say, the more you earn, the more it quantifies itself. Get the Mathern's Rewards app today. Here's Your Money Now on Talk 107.3. All right, I hear the 11, 12, and 13 will be for the last segment of the show. Bang out your Rouses on the way back in. Yeah, I'm with you, Kevin and Galen. I'm totally with you on that. If he were promoting that book, we would have talked about that book. With the overall conversation being a better conversation, I didn't want to drag the whole thing down.
Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread. Party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill, plus plenty of ice cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at talk1073.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered to win a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
7:55 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We are jammed up next hour with interviews. We've got Tiger Joyce from American Tort Reform. We got Moon Griffon talking about everything under the sun. We got Walt Leger from NOLA Company. That's all coming up next hour, which means right now, the folks at 5 Star Printing and Signs bring you an abbreviated version of this day in history. You're not going to believe this, JP.
What's that?
But my This Day in History says page not available.
No.
So I'm quite limited today. Have at it. Yep.
All right. Well, it was this day. Starting off 1961, we're going to keep it concise here. John F. Kennedy advises Americans to build fallout shelters.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
There you go. Yeah. Get to it, guys. 1966, LSD is first declared illegal in the state of California, and other states follow.
What? Why?
Yeah. Yeah, up until that point, I mean, it's been a great addition to music, right?
I suppose.
1979, Pope John Paul II is the first pope to visit the White House, meeting with President Jimmy Carter in Washington.
Okay.
And keeping the faith alive here, 1987, the single Faith by George Michaels is released. What? It was
Decent segue. Decent
Decent
segue.
segue.
I'll credit it.
Is it? I don't know if it.
No, it just, you got to keep it moving, though.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Hey, 2001. Oh, my goodness. Pop Idol, created by Simon Fuller, with judges Simon Cowell and Pete Waterman debuts, starting a worldwide Idol franchise.
Okay.
Oof, we know, yeah, how that went. Instagram launched today in
Oh, by the
2010.
way, I know we've had an American Idol and an American Idol runner-up in the last few years from right here in the area.
Yes.
I'd be on the lookout now. I'm calling the shot right now for like 8 to 10 years from now. There's a kid,
Okay.
9 years old. His name is Finn Tucker.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I know where you're going with this.
You know where
yeah.
I'm going with this?
Yes.
He played a couple songs during the intermission at the last Live After 5, which was not this past Friday, the one before. This kid's going to be the American Idol one day.
Oh,
I'm
man.
telling you this right now. He's going. I have a video of it on my phone. I'll post it up on Talk 107.3's Facebook page of him singing Wagon Wheel.
This kid's been getting around then because I've seen reels of him recently.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He looks younger than he is. I thought he was 5. And I so apologize to him because you don't want to, like,
but
if you're 9, you don't want to be mistaken. But, like,
that's right.
The kid's got legit talent.
Wow.
I got Wagon Wheel on video. I did not get Johnny Cash Ring of Fire. Is that the one where he shot a man in Reno? Just to watch?
That was Folsom Prison Blues.
Folsom Prison Blues. That's what he did. All right, birthdays.
LeBron James Jr. today.
Oh,
okay.
Fantastic.
Let's see, Carol Lombard as well today.
Okay.
Actress Carol Lombard. Let's see who else we have today. Anybody else on your end?
I do. I have a couple birthdays.
All right.
From the sports world, we've got Oil Can Boyd was born today.
Okay.
Ruben Sierra, if you grew up in the 80s, you remember him from the Texas Rangers. Women's basketball player Rebecca Lobo. An actress, and another one, if you grew up in the 80s, you know all about Elizabeth Shue. Hey, it was on this day in 1993. Michael Jordan retired for the first time.
Oh, true. I did.
Yep.
I did see that.
So it was today in 1993 that gave us Space Jam.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Eddie Van Halen on deaths today.
Okay.
Day in 2020. And Betty Davis.
All right.
As well. National days today. You know what? Let's go with oh man. Noodle Day. It's so lame.
It's lame. But lame. It is what it is.
Child Health Day. What about that?
Fair enough. Coming up on straight up 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM. We got a break for news, break for traffic, break for weather. When we come back, let's talk coastal lawsuits. Let's talk lawsuit abuse. Tiger Joyce joins us next. Yeah.
Seeing a few things from him over the weekend.
All right. We can run a little bit long and push Moon back a little bit.
Oh,
okay. Crappers. Oh, so tired. And I actually got some sleep last night till the storms woke me up. Oh. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, JP producing. We are still about 74 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Going to have a lot of cloud cover, keeping that temperature down for some time. And it looks like we might not be done with rain. Another round that could come through in the early evening hours. Busy hour this hour. We got Moon Griffon coming up in our next segment. We've got Walt Leger from New Orleans & Company in the 8:35 segment. Right now, though, this is Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. I'm sorry, it's overall Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. It is observed annually for the first full week in October by Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch and the Louisiana Legal Reform Coalition. Kicking this week off by welcoming back to the show one Tiger Joyce. Tiger, how are you, man? Tiger, we got you? Let's drop him back on. Oh, there he is. Hey, Tiger, how are you, man? I don't think he's hearing me, JP.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. There you are. We got you now. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, all good. This is Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week. You're with the Tort Reform Association. So walk us through a little bit about what this week is all about.
Well, it's we tie this in with the Supreme Court of the United States actually begins hearing oral arguments. Tomorrow's the first Tuesday. And so the purpose here is to highlight the importance of litigation in the courts and the role that our legal system, our civil justice system, entail for all of us. The issues that we focus on predominantly involve the state courts and state laws, and so we're pleased when a state like Louisiana will recognize this. I think it begins with the process of realizing that, unlike what a lot of people think, and I'm here in Washington, D.C., where every other person you run into on the streets is a lawyer, most people think that the civil justice system is really just an issue for lawyers and professors and judges. But the reality is that lawsuit abuse costs all of us, the average person, the average family of four in Louisiana. The excesses cost the so-called tort tax is nearly $4,000, and for those living in New Orleans, it's almost double that. So it's important to recognize that issues that affect litigation policy are very relevant to the average person, to small businesses, and all those in your state and around the country.
How is the tort tax calculated?
Well, there's a firm based out of Texas that does an analysis of what the costs would be, and the reduction in costs, I should say, would be if every state had a properly, efficiently functioning civil justice system. I mean, that would be an objective to try to reach, but Louisiana is one where I think we've highlighted in our reports, our affiliated foundation, the Judicial Hellholes report, whether it's staged accidents with commercial trucks and other vehicles, just the frequency of so-called nuclear verdicts, awards in excess of $10 million. Probably most recently is the litigation that was brought by one of the parishes in Louisiana and receiving a judgment of well over $700 million against Chevron, involving litigation about the current state of some wetlands, which are obviously very complicated, important issues, but it's unprecedented litigation that we have seen, and I think this award, unfortunately, is just the beginning of that process in your state.
We're talking with Tiger Joyce from the American Tort Reform Association. Let's zero in on that if we could, because your outfit just filed a brief on this specifically. What was y'all's interest here, and what are you hoping, or how are you hoping the court receives it?
Well, I mean, our hope is that there's a recognition that the issues here really, when you boil it all down, do not belong in state courts and having state courts determining broader economic policy. And I think it's, we've highlighted, both in our amicus brief as well as in some of the other publications that we've put out over the years, much of the activity took place before there was any type of regulatory limitations or guidance in terms of the potential the use of the engagement of the energy industry. So we think that this is something that really should be dealt with more broadly. We don't think that litigation is the way to solve this problem. We think ultimately, at the end of the day, you've got the localities that are throughout the state, and we see this around the country on related issues, seeking to generate revenue through litigation, where really it's functioning sort of more as a process to raise funds, which is what governments do mostly through the tax system.
I got Tiger Joyce for about 4 more minutes with us talking about Lawsuit Abuse Awareness Week, but specifically Chevron versus Plaquemines Parish. I've read the summary of y'all's argument. I honestly did not read the entire brief, Tiger, because, well, let's be honest, the brief is not exactly brief. So I did read the summary, and you walk through the number of reasons why moving this or making sure this is done on a federal level is the important or is the right call here. Walk us through, taking something away from the state and moving it to a federal level. Normally I like my government local, but y'all put forth some very good reasons as to why local is not the right answer.
Well, I think that we have two systems in our two processes in our courts. We have federal courts and we have state and local courts, and there are reasons for each. The reality is that the energy industry, which is essential not just to the economy of your state, but to the functioning of our everyday lives, is a matter of national interest. I mean, when you boil it all down, that's really what it comes down to. The reality is that we cannot live without energy development. And there can be discussions about, and my organization doesn't get into, how the, what the incentives should be for certain industries or certain types of energy versus others. However, we are very dependent on it as a centerpiece of our economy. You listen to what leaders in Congress say, listen to what President Trump has said, even past presidents. Energy independence is vital. To subject the industry and the development of industry, which is something that we all depend on, to the vagaries of some independent, to some local state courts, and subjecting them to this really threatens it. I think for the people in both in that particular parish, but throughout the state, the dependence of your state and the importance of this industry on your state economy can't be denied. And the reality is that this is a situation where the excesses and really the unprecedented nature of this litigation is a genuine threat to further economic development and activity in your state.
Well, and I'm not an attorney, Tiger, but as I've read the summary of the brief, it makes it sound like this decision has already been made on a couple of different occasions, and yet it's not being enforced on that level.
Well, I think that this is, as I said, what really is, I think the important takeaway is that litigation is unprecedented.
Right.
It's been going on for decades, and we think at the end of the day, the broader public interest is served when you have accountable public officials and those who are responsible to their constituents and to the citizens in your state make the crucial decisions on how to potentially regulate an industry that is vital to your economy and also to our everyday way of life.
I don't know if this next question is an either or an all of the above, but is it the size and scope of the lawsuit, or is it the longevity, like you just said, decades, if not generations long trial or suit?
Well, I think it's all of the above. And as I said, we have a system in this country of both state and federal courts, but we also have public officials who have public responsibilities when it comes to protecting the environment, and also, but doing it in a way that balances the interests of both the general economy, the general well-being, and the necessities that we have in our everyday life. Whereas when you look at it through litigation, especially in a state court, the lens is very narrow. It's considering only the interests of those who are before the court, whereas those who are responsible for the general economy and general welfare have broader responsibilities and focus.
Well, but what's in front of the court opens up for everybody else, doesn't it? I mean, this one can set precedent for many other lawsuits to where it makes it that much easier just to bleed companies for the sake of bleeding them.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry if I wasn't sort of picking up on that was what you were focusing on. Yes, the simple fact is that when a court issues a decision like this, it's obviously going to have a ripple effect, a precedential effect. Whether it's legally formally binding, I think that's a different question, but certainly the attention that this is getting. What it really comes down to is what is the role of the court, and we believe that this would if it's even going to be heard in court, it should be heard in the federal courts under the limited jurisdiction of the federal courts. I think that's the point we make in our brief. However, I think more broadly, I think there needs to be a recognition of the central role that energy plays in our lives and the responsibility to regulate it in a way that balances the interest of those in the business as well as consumers and others.
Well, and there's a whole other added chapter to this that takes into account the real life timeline of how things transpired and what, in the nature of what they're suing for in the first place. The real life timeline of how things transpired versus what they're accusing Chevron of. Those are two different things as well.
Yeah, and I think, again, the one thing I can assure you is I'm not an expert on, the effect of levies and sort of the impact that's had.
Yeah. But,
there's evidence suggesting that, significant other factors go into the what's happened with the wetland. And to simply put all the responsibility or this level of responsibility on one particular company from activity dating back decades, I think most people would agree that that's inappropriate.
Yeah, it's so deep and intertwined. It's not going to be unpacked in one conversation, to be sure. But we do appreciate a couple minutes this morning. He's Tiger Joyce with American Tort Reform Association. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are due up for our first break of the third hour. When we come back, we talk about everything under the sun with Moon Griffon. That's next. man. All right, I'm in it now. Holy crap. Oh, I need more coffee. I'm going to go during the next break. $821 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Ran a little bit long there with Tiger Joyce, so let's waste no time welcoming Moon Griffon to the show. How are you, brother?
Hey, Brian, doing good, man. No problem. I got him on, too. I know it's the lawsuit abuse week, and so they're kind of making the runs, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot to talk about on a number of different fronts, the Chevron case being one of them, but the Chevron case is just one because there's not a whole lot that we can do as a populace to change it, let me rephrase that. There's a lot more we could do on the frivolous lawsuits over car accidents front, if that makes sense. It's just the coastal lawsuits are a lot more of eating an elephant one bite at a time. The frivolous lawsuits, I feel like we can lobby our state legislators to make more effective change in the short term.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But the big deal was that court case in Chevron. That gets back to the courts. I think we're going to have a different of opinion on that. And then you got 42 more cases to come. A lot of them might be shut down automatically. So it's a big court decision that's coming up dealing with Pikeman Parish and a coastal deal. So I'm curious to see how that all falls out when it's said and done.
$750 million is just unsustainable, though. And look, I'm not a lawyer. No. I don't pretend to be a lawyer, but there's certain things where you could look at the entire chessboard and say, if that sticks, then it's going to be the wild, wild west. Oh, it's going to be the gold rush at that point.
Well, the problem you got, what does that say about when you state and your local parishes are suing all companies? It just doesn't look good from a business perspective, Brian. Everybody thinks that their money and their checks going to come in and all of a sudden life's going to be easy and good, and I've never seen that really work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not to say that there isn't blame to be assessed here, or that there's not some room for, I don't want to say middle ground, but, some room for if Chevron is proven to have done something wrong, but, like, just the amounts are so astronomical. I don't know.
Well, it's very far, like you said, we're not lawyers, but I've watched the case for a while now. It's got a lot to do with the federal government did during wartime, and I just don't think we weighing that enough. Now, that may not get you off the hook for some of this money, but It's not weighing it near enough when it comes to the final decision. That's why they wanted it in a court, in a local court or state court, because the feds have really already said they can't do that. The federal government was ordering that stuff. Their claim is, they did, but after a certain point, they kept doing it. So, once again, legal beagle talks. Let's see what happens. What happens. I like that it's going back to the federal court and maybe the Supreme Court. I think I'm hoping they'll make, how about this, Brian, a wise decision. Let's leave it at that.
That's fair. And that is where we can leave it. We got Moon Griffon on with us. He is on Talk 107.3 every week. Well, statewide, actually, every weekday from 9 to 11. Moon, hard-pressed to find something more, I hate to use the word juicy, but there was very little last week that was juicier than Stock Tips with Cleo Fields. How much did y'all catch wind of this over in Lafayette?
No, we did. We covered it with Cleo Fields gaining the system. Somebody said, well, you got to be able to prove it, but he was the only congressman that we felt like gained the system. There was articles that went national. Louisiana Democrat that sits on the committee, and right before TikTok did what they're going to do. He went over there and bought a bunch of rope stock, and he bought a bunch of it. It wasn't like $5. He bought a bunch of it. I tell you what, if nothing else, the perception is horrendous. This is the kind of stuff they try to stop, but I kind of wonder how much of this is stopped because, some of these people go to Washington, they're broke, and they come back, they're filthy rich. I say broke. They're not worth near what they are now. So, and that brings me up to this, Brian, because one of the things I am going to talk about today is, Louisiana's AG Liz Murrow fired Secretary of State Nancy Landry's lawyers in this case that's coming up, and she might have the right to do this, but I haven't talked to Nancy, but I think Nancy's pretty upset about this because I think Nancy is not in line with the governor and Liz Murrow on this particular case and where it all started. So I still hadn't seen Brian, I promise you, God is my witness, I still hadn't seen where the judges ordered us to draw Cleo Field. What I did come across, though, is they gave them choices. You could draw the Cleo Fields district.
Mm-hmm.
You could do nothing.
Right.
Or go to court and defend the other map, which was designed for March 4th. But when Jeff and Liz rushed everybody to do that, once they signed a name on that new districting, there was no sense having a court case. So
right.
We kind of screwed this up, and Nancy was not a part of that. And I'm thinking Nancy's looking at this thing going, you know what? Hold up just a second. And now that Liz jumped in front and did this, I'm going to defend Nancy Landry on this. I'm really disappointed that they're doing what they're doing. I'm kind of wondering where we're going with this whole thing.
Well, so am I, because, there will be, if the Supreme Court moves, which is expected, it's almost guaranteed that there will be a special session to redraw the map. So I don't understand, who's impeding who here?
Say that again. Who's what?
Who's impeding who? Who's getting in whose way? I don't
think Nancy's in their way.
Right.
Liz and them want to clear the field so they can do what they want to do. You got to remember, Brian, when this thing started, the governor and Liz was all for this. They're the ones created the district. They're the ones sold the legislation. They had to do this when they didn't.
Right.
Okay. Now, when we go to the Supreme Court, it was Liz and Jeff and them changing their mind. No, it's a gerrymandered district. Well, they were arguing a couple of years ago that it wasn't gerrymandered district. They would say it was a political district. So they're the ones that flipped. I don't see Nancy as the flipper here. I really don't. And I'm curious to see where all this is going because sooner or later we're going to find out the truth of what the heck's going on here.
I hope we do. Because if we find out the truth, I live in the 6th. So if we find out the truth, I'll get my district back.
Well, the reason I say I'm going to find out, you're going to find out the truth according to Mood. Because I really am pursuing this. I'm really upset the way this is playing out when we all really, these are all Republicans we're talking about. They ought to all be on the same team. And why aren't they all on the same team? Somebody's on the right team, somebody's on the wrong team. So I want to know the truth of this, and I'm going to pursue it until we find out what's going on. I think we need to know.
We got about 2 minutes left with Moon Griffon, who is coming up right here on Talk 107.3 FM, half an hour from right now. Moon, in these last 2 minutes, I want to ask you about the National Guard. How much has this discussion made it onto your show, or how much is in your, in the background for bringing National Guard troops to Louisiana?
I kind of been watching this with, I've been kind of watching this from a distance, Brian. Our crime is bad. We saw the chef from Brennan's was just going to get his kid and got shot in a carjacking.
Yeah.
And I know some of these cities are so out of control, it's not even funny. So what do? Well, the National Guard, you can call up the National Guard to do this. I think it's constitutionally illegal. I don't think I've got a problem with that. So what do you want to do? We got one side of the equation that says leave everything like it is. We got another side of the equation saying, don't you want your communities to be safe? I mean, in Chicago, they say, no, we don't want to be safe. Los Angeles said, no, stay out. We don't want to be safe. Well, you're choosing not to be safe versus your citizens' safety.
Right.
And I think this is, and look, if you really dive into it, Brian, they're not going in to go shoot everybody. It's not what they're doing. They're going in to back up law enforcement in those areas. Give them a break, maybe on a traffic stop or something else where law enforcement can do their job. They kind of just reinforcement. It ain't like, and this is what's being portrayed, Trump's coming in. Trump's going to take over. Trump's dominating. Trump's using the military. That's not, if you read it closely, it's just going in to back them up to have that back. And I don't think anything's wrong with that.
I'm with you. I'm firmly of the belief that we've got to see it play out before we can decide how it played out. A lot of people have presumptions in their minds without knowing what it's actually going to look like, because quite honestly, the players involved don't know what it's going to look like yet. In the meanwhile, I know you got to get. We will hear from you in half an hour on the Moon Griffon Show.
Thank you, Brian. Always a pleasure, man.
Likewise. Here's news. All right, coffee. Super Bowl! No, I meant the Saints. Wow. I got to bang out my NeuroJust live read before I get to him. Oh, come on now. Painful. Where are the shit are my notes for this segment? Oh, holy hell. I need you to go grab something off the printer, please. When I start the interview. 636 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're about to visit with the folks over at NOLA Co. or New Orleans & Company in just a quick second. Before that, I need to remind you about NeuroJust. NeuroJust.com is the website, NeuroJust. NeuroJust.com. If you or someone you know is battling with anxiety and depression and has been treatment resistant thus far, what does that mean? It means the sit down, talk it out therapy isn't really working. It means that when you've gone the prescription drug route, you've seen side effects or diminishing returns. NeuroJust has an FDA-approved, non-invasive, zero side effect method that treats anxiety and depression by something called TMS therapy, transcranial magnetic stimulation. Basically, it's these magnetic stimulating waves that affect mood. It's got an 80% response rate, 70% remission rate. Check them out at neurojust.com, neurojust.com. All right, time to welcome aboard, or welcome back, I should say, Walt Leger. He is with New Orleans & Company. Walt, how are you, man? Walt, do we have you?
Yeah, good morning,
There he
Brian.
is.
Sorry about that.
No, all good.
How
all
are you?
good. I'm doing pretty well on this, and how about yourself?
Fantastic. It's a good Monday morning. Saints finally got a victory. That's nice. And starting to get into the fall weather, so I think people are feeling good.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with the Saints win, because that's going to segue us into one of the big wins for New Orleans overall. The Saints win yesterday. Does it wash away 4 losses? Because I think everybody went into the season knowing it was going to be building blocks. And once you start putting building blocks out there, you can kind of rejuvenate the excitement pretty quickly.
You know how Saints fans are. I think everybody thinks we're going to go on a 13-game win streak now.
I do.
You know, I mean, it's which I love. There's great optimism there. Look, you got to get a win some point. Those first 4 games were tough. Obviously, I think the team competed pretty well in some of those games, and it is good to get back in the win column. It had been a long time when you stretches back to last season. So a win's a win, and yeah, you just try to build upon that. So I think people feel really positive about it.
Well, there's a bigger topic to be discussed along with this, and that is excitement begets attendance. Attendance begets revenue. Revenue gets the NFL's attention, and the Saints are in a position right now, and New Orleans as a city needs to retain the NFL's attention.
Yeah, no question. I mean, some other great news last week was the Saints, signing a long-term deal to stay in the city through the next 10 years with some extensions beyond that. And that allows us to get back to the opportunity that we've been working on, which is to bring the next Super Bowl back to the city as soon as we possibly can and fit that in to some tight scheduling windows because, frankly, we've got Mardi Gras and other conferences and conventions that are challenges from a booking standpoint over the next several years. So we're getting right back to work to get that done.
Okay, so legitimately, how possible, and I believe it's the 2031 Super Bowl, is that the one that's being talked about?
Yeah, I mean we're talking about all the possibilities that are out there, but that one seems viable at this point, and we're going to keep pressing on that as hard as we can.
We got Walt Leger with us from New Orleans & Company. The Superdome deal, the Caesar Superdome deal, is obviously big news. 10 years with the opportunity to re-up for 5 more twice, if I'm not mistaken. Walt, as much as we love the Superdome, and I like no other, it is the 8th wonder of the world, and at the same time, though, are we going to come to a position where we got to really start talking about a new stadium?
Well, we're not there yet, and
Right.
I think that comes from great investment and foresight from the leadership to continue to invest in it and keep it viable. So I don't think we're there yet. These new stadiums are tremendously expensive, and I think for us at this point, our best bet is continuing to maximize what we can get out of this 50-year-old building at this point. And if we can get another Super Bowl, then there's nothing that prevents us from getting another one after that. And I think we just have to keep being smart about what we do to advance that. I would say that starting to do some real planning around the whole area surrounding the Superdome is something we ought to really be looking at, maximizing Champion Square, developing a stronger fan experience, just making it a more welcoming environment and hopefully stemming additional business investment around it. That to me, would be the next smart focus for us, is increasing the fan experience. That'll do wonders for all the events we try to bring in, but certainly it'll help for the major events as well.
Talk with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. That's exactly where I was hoping you were going to go with that. Because when you look at the new stadiums today, the price tag is bigger and the shelf life is shorter. The more we can get out of this magnificent building, just longevity-wise, the more we can get out of it, the better it is for the city and the state.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the right play at this point. And I think we've done, I think the Champion Square addition over the years has been really strong. Mm-hmm. There's more to be done in the vicinity of the sports district, in my opinion. And I think if we're creative and thoughtful, we can make substantial investment and also move forward the whole experience for our fans and then those who visit and attend other events as well. And obviously, we've got to look at the Smoothie King Center. That's going to be a big piece of whether or not the Pelicans can remain here in our city as well. And that stadium was put together in a way that was meant to attract a team. It worked. We've invested somewhat in it over the years. There's probably going to have to be some fairly substantial investment to get that up to NBA standards and help us move forward. And good to see the Pelicans get off to a good start in the preseason with some wins in Australia. And we've got some team members over there working with customers and trying to bring people from Australia to visit us here in New Orleans. And that market's performed pretty well for us over the last several years. We're excited to keep trying to expand upon it.
Yeah, Zion Williamson was the one person allowed to not participate in culinary.
Ha! Yeah, it's true. I guess he didn't. He looks pretty good. Looks strong. Let's keep it that way.
Absolutely. Hey, back to the football side of this. Big win landing the College Football Playoff Championship.
Couldn't be more excited for the team over at the Sugar Bowl. They've done great work to keep us in the mix as it relates to the college football playoffs, and a huge announcement to have the college football championship back in 2028. So that year we'll also have a quarterfinal game earlier with the Sugar Bowl, and then later, a few weeks later, we'll have the college football championship. So that's already shaping up to be a great start to 2028 from a visitation standpoint, and obviously, again, for the Superdome to be able to have its fifth. This will be its fifth college football championship game in the modern era, and I think we've hosted maybe over 30 or so over the years, which is really phenomenal when you think about it. Those were obviously a more traditional national championship winners back in the day with Sugar Bowls. However, it's great to be a part of the modern era of college football playoffs, and that's been really big for us.
Yeah, when you combine college football playoff, BCS, and then just the winner of the Sugar Bowl being declared as such before that, 30 of them is a really big number. And Walt, it goes back to the previous topic though, is every time the Superdome gets a chance to shine, it's like hit and refresh.
Yeah, if we could get into a pattern where we could predictably have a Super Bowl every 5 to 6 years, a college football playoff every 5 to 6 years, that does sort of help justify the continued investments, which keeps it ready for Paul McCartney, who's coming in at the end of October, and Billie Eilish, who's got 2 concerts in November, and all the other incredible things that the Superdome has been the host to over the years. It's obviously an incredible sports stadium that's been a championship venue for a very long time, but it's also been so much more, and that we want to keep that going and keep it as competitive as it can be.
We got Walt Leger with us for a couple more minutes. I do want to talk about the mayor's race in just a little bit, but I want to, before we get to that, it's getting to be festival time as the temperature starts to drop a little bit. Tell the folks in Baton Rouge what's on tap in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, we just wrapped up some really great events this past weekend with Fried Chicken Fest in New Orleans, Gretna Fest nearby. But we've got Crescent City Blues and Barbecue Festival coming up this weekend, which will be at Lafayette Square Park downtown. Gentilly Fest also going on, and Oktoberfest kicks off, which will be every weekend in October, celebrating over at the Deutsch House. NOLA Funk Fest, New Orleans Film Fest, New Orleans Reggae Fest, Crew of Boo. All of these things are happening in October. Of course, all leading up to Halloween. We're also celebrating Music Month this month, which we recognize every day as Music Day in the city of New Orleans, but ultimately Music Month is a month in which we celebrate all of these festivals. We just are wrapping up NOLA by NOLA, which is live music in over 50 venues across the city, and also some music industry events where we're trying to continue to help elevate and grow the music industry and the business of music here in our city. Really exciting time of year for us. Also, as you said, the weather starts to just get improved quite a bit, a little less humidity, a little cooler, and we felt that this weekend as we kicked off the fall. So it's an exciting time for sure.
You sparked another conversation, and you do this every time you come on. The business of music end of this. We all celebrate the music end of it, the culture end of it. We all celebrate going out and having a good time, listening to a couple bands. How do you use those to celebrate the business end?
Well, we've got a music conference, Music Con, that comes up at the end of the month and is a hub for education, business, and innovation discussions. But also, we've got to keep talking about it, working with our higher education institutions, and continuing to work with government leaders as well to create the right mechanism. Roots of Music, which is an incredible youth band program here in New Orleans, they had a ribbon cutting last week celebrating a new campus. And while that has been largely focused on marching bands and on giving children something to do so that they can focus on schoolwork and on extracurriculars and not get dragged into other, activities that we want to, prevent them from getting caught up in. But also they're now incorporating things like publishing, production, and eventually, hopefully, representation and other things. I mean, we want the musicians here to be able to monetize their creativity and also for others to be able to support that as an industry so that folks don't have to seek out that representation or that professionalism in other places, and something that's been lacking. I know we've been working with G&O Inc. and others to help get this ball rolling for a number of years, and I think there's some positive momentum, but we certainly want the music side of things to be represented here, knowing that we are a center of creativity for the production of music. Let's make sure that we help those creative individuals capitalize on it from a monetary standpoint as well.
Love it. We got 2 minutes left with Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. Give me the synopsis on the mayor's race. I mean, early voting. I believe early voting closed out on Saturday. What are we looking at down there?
Yeah, so early voting closed out, and it appeared, the last I saw, the numbers were high. They were higher than they've been for the last 8 years. That's good to see. I think we're all hoping that by Election Day on October 11th that as many people as possible get to the polls. I think we all believe that with more people participating, the outcome will be better. And ultimately, it's been a pretty competitive race. We'll see what happens. I mean, some are predicting that Council President Moreno could perhaps win in the primary. Of course, Senator Royce Duplessis and Councilmember Oliver Thomas are pushing hard, continuing to earn support. So I think it remains to be seen. It's really going to come down to, as it always does, to who shows up to vote. I've heard people say they feel like the race may be close to over and they don't feel like they need to vote. And I've had to remind them, polls are not votes. You have to actually show up at the poll and cast a vote. So I think our big push this week with our members and with our team is just reminding people that voting is critical, and we're hopeful that people will get to the polls. We'll have a new, new people coming into the administration at the council level, at the mayor's level, at the sheriff level, and throughout government here in New Orleans. So it's a big election.
No, it absolutely is. And yeah, polls are not votes, and neither is media dollars or media buys. And we know, one candidate's had a huge lead on that front going in. So we're to see just how much the populace reacts in the meanwhile. Last thing before we get out of here, just if you could please, Give us one more item that we want to hit up within the next few weeks if we're heading down to New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to highlight some of these concerts. I mean, Paul McCartney bringing his Got Back tour to the Smoothie King Center October 29th, Billie Eilish. And, of course, we got some Saints games and some Tulane football games as well. So I hope people find some time to get down and enjoy New Orleans. Great time of year and the right time to come visit as we celebrate the fall leading into the holiday season that's right around the corner.
He's Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. We always appreciate a couple minutes, sir.
Thank you. It's great to be with you. Take care.
Likewise,
Bye-bye.
You do the same. Coming up on 8:51 at Talk 107.3. Quick break. We'll close it out next. I went 51:04 thinking that would be right, and that was right. I don't think I could post while we're live. I don't know, but I'm trying to post this kid, and it's not happening. Although on Friday I did post a picture of Rocco dressed as Amerigo Vespucci with the caption, "This is happening."
And you did that during the live?
Yeah, but posting a 3-minute video doesn't seem to be working.
Oh, the video.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Galen says, nope, Moon. Judge Dick clearly gave marching orders for the legislature to draw a minority district, or she would. That was Moon's point, Galen, is gun to the head, you say pull the trigger. You're going to draw the district, you go ahead and draw the district. And you want to talk about outstepping checks and balances here. Overreach, judicial overreach through the wazoo. Whoo-wee. Oh, hey, Kevin, good getting to catch up with you outside of church yesterday, man. It's good seeing you. And by the way, my kids were like super geeked out and fascinated over what you're up to. JP, I'll tell you about it after we're off the air.
Okay.
I don't know what's shareable or not.
Okay.
I don't want to violate any off the record stuff.
Yeah.
11, 12, and 13 here.
Got it.
I don't know if these are the same story or not. Lafayette will soon be the manufacturing home for a commercial drone manufacturing company. Data centers and semiconductors. These are two different stories. Lafayette just got back-to-back wins going on here for 500 new jobs apiece.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Those 11.
I gotta stand up for a quick second. How long do I have? Like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Yo. Oh. 8:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I'm going to hand off to Moon Griffon in just a little bit. Hey, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. It's Ken Trahan's original prep football report presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. tuition program on Talk 107.3. Speaking of high school football, I made my way out to Memorial Stadium Friday night for the Catholic High game. That was my first ever Catholic High game. That's, yeah, I know. That's, was bringing the daughter out. She's in 8th grade, and she was going to homecoming the next night, which was just phenomenal. But they played like a legit team from, like a really legit team. Normally for homecoming, you try to schedule a patsy and just beat the bejesus out of them. But Catholic went out and they scheduled this really, really good team from Mississippi who wasn't like overly fast. Didn't have like, you know, you couldn't see if they had any like true studs, but they were unbelievably disciplined. Everybody was where they were supposed to be. And you got updates on it all night long via Ken Trahan's original prep football report right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Hey, before we get you out of here, man, Lafayette is posting up some big wins lately. You heard one story in our news at the bottom of the hour. Lafayette will soon be the manufacturing home for a commercial drone manufacturing company. This is DMR Technologies out of Houston. They're renovating a facility in the city and will use it to manufacture flagship unmanned aerial system. Their president CEO, the CEO of the Lafayette Economic Development Authority, Mandy Mitchell, says the site will be the company's primary domestic hub.
What they intend to do here is to shift production over to Louisiana, essentially onshoring production of their Field Ranger X50.
Okay, that's awesome. Even more awesome than that is 500 direct jobs they're expected to create over the next 10 years.
Their company is going to have an impact of nearly 1,300 jobs in the region when we look at both direct employment as well as indirect through vendors and suppliers.
And those jobs will be at a pay rate that's well above average.
The company's goal is to pay an average salary of $85,000, which is a very good wage.
Now we go from DMR Technologies to MMR Group. This press release coming out at 7 o'clock this morning from the Economic Development Department. MMR Group announced they're growing its Louisiana footprint with a $55.2 million investment for a new assembly facility in Lafayette Parish that will expand production of electrical components used in high-growth sectors such as data centers and semiconductors. This is another 196 new direct jobs, obviously a lot more than that when you add in the indirect jobs. But, man, big week for Lafayette, pulling in 2 huge wins. That's awesome stuff. And that was, we didn't play the intro for it, but that was the outside in. Hey, before we get out of here, got to remind you about 5-Star Printing and Signs. PrintShop5.com is the website. PrintShop5.com. 271-4096 is the phone number. Who is in need of 5-Star Printing and Signs? A lot more folks than you might think. All right. First of all, if your business card needs that refresh, if any of your printed materials need that refresh, Danny and his team more than happy to collaborate with you. But beyond that, let's talk about your branding. Let's talk about how often and how frequent your name is out there and your business is front and center. They do vehicle wraps. I mean, think about that. Putting your brand across your vehicle, if you have a company vehicle, wrap it. Make yourself the walking billboard, driving billboard through traffic. And of course, whatever else you want to put your brand on merch, they've got it at printshop5.com. That's it for us. Moon's next. Okay, guys. To the glorified crew this morning. I've got some stuff I've got to record for tomorrow. Interview coming in. So I'll see you tomorrow.